And for the purposes of tax bracket, let's consider this person to be single. I promise you, not all software engineers are single. Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Lisa Wong and I'm an engineer. Welcome to the channel. I love talking about finance, well-being, and air pollution. And so if any of these things interest you, feel free to subscribe and hit the like button. All right, so I've been working as an engineer for quite a while now, I would say, and I've noticed some distinguishments between those who are wealthy and know how to manage their money well versus those who are having trouble being financially savvy in the workplace. I've come up with 7 conclusions as to why that is the case, and I want to share them with you in this video. The first one is health is wealth. Now, I know this sounds quite cheesy and it's probably something you've heard from your mom or your grandma nagging you to go to the gym over and over again. Or it's something you've just seen on commercials where people just look really good with six-packs and you drool over their bodies. But that is so true. The amount of people I've seen in the workplace with incorrect postures, either struggling with overweight or underweight, or just in general are struggling with mental health is absolutely astonishing. If you're part of that clad, feel free to comment below if you've been struggling with and some ways that you've been mitigating it. According to a National Health Statistics report of 2018, 22.9% of the United States adults age 18 to 64, working adults, meet the federal guidelines for aerobic and muscle strengthening activities. You guys, 22.9% of adults in this country meet federal guidelines for basic activities. That's absolutely astonishing. That means the rest of us is either gonna, die quicker or age faster. Now, I don't think I have to say this so often enough, but the better you have in terms of your body, the better you. The second one is learn how to save money. Now, there are a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people in your life that have gotten wealthy because of investments. There's a lot of people who's teaching you how to build up an investment portfolio. But the truth is, with every investment comes some kind of capital. Even starting a YouTube channel, you need some kind of capital to purchase a camera, for example, and the lighting equipment needed, or have even a background. I would recommend for those of you sitting on the couch right now, maybe playing video games all day long, to really start thinking about what you can do practically to save money so that you can also be on the journey of being a self-made millionaire like many others. My third tip is learn how to save smarter and not necessarily save harder. I've had relatives who will go distances back to the grocery store who charge them extra on an orange, or going back to the restaurant that actually tipped them too much, and spend more time doing that than actually resting or thinking about going to see more relatives, or even just using that time more wisely to make more money. Time is very, very important, and there are many ways to conserve that. One of them is not penny pinch. Penny pinching may have gotten you pretty far once upon a time in your life, but as you start to accumulate a lot of wealth, the idea of penny pinching is not going to help you accumulate even more wealth. It's just going to build some, in my personal opinion, bad relationships. One of the major expenses I have as an individual is that I like buying my friends meals, especially those who are maybe in college or who just aren't there financially. I don't take them out necessarily and give them like a luxurious steak meal, but I love hosting people, having them over for meals, and whatever they don't eat, I make them take home. That is a way of giving. It's not penny pinching, but it's formed me some incredible friendships. And in this channel, we're going to be really focusing on ways to save money smarter and not necessarily harder. The fourth one is time is money, or rather, time is a lot more valuable than you think. Now, we've all heard growing up that a traditional 9-to-5 job is going to get you somewhere far in life. And that is quite frankly not really true anymore. I've noticed that the ultra wealthy, or at least those who are very financially savvy, have this mentality that they understand. Instead of trading their time for money, their whole life, working 8 hours a day or more than that sometimes, working for someone else and slaving away until you're 65 to retire, really to build wealth and then think about how to use that money to trade more time so that they can use that time to take care of themselves, spend money making more money, or just being with your family. So in this channel, I definitely don't have it all together. I'm going to spend some time figuring out how to adjust my mentality and sharing some tips and tricks I've learned along the way with you. The fifth one is learn how taxes work. I know this was traditionally something that maybe an accountant or your grandpa did for you, and it seemed like something that was only applicable and needed for old people to evaluate what was needed for their taxes so that they can calculate their tax returns. I'm very fond of this generation of millennials and Gen Zers who are constantly evaluating taxes and figuring out what it means to pay taxes, but also what it means at times to not pay taxes. And please, I'm not trying to say right now that paying taxes is bad for you. It's not. There's a lot of things that come out of taxes that we probably need, but if you're not in a place where you can pay the government the amount of money they're spending right now, or maybe you don't agree with some of the decisions, or maybe you just need to conserve more money because you are in a place where you're not very financially well off, then I highly suggest you go and look at, if you're living in the United States, for example, all the different states and counties with taxes, and get yourself educated as to how you can get out of some of them. All right, so let's do a math problem, just because that's how I was trained. When life hands you problems, solve them. Let's say we are on YouTube browsing and you see a nice video that says how I make $250K as a software engineer living in San Francisco, and you think to yourself, oh my gosh, how much money is he actually putting in his pocket? Well, let's see. And for the purposes of tax bracket, let's consider this person to be single. I promise you, not all software engineers are single. All right, so 2021 federal income tax bracket was around $46,843 plus 35% of the excess over $209,000. The 2021 California income tax bracket was around $2,695 plus 9.3% over any amount over $61,000. That turns out to be a grand total you're paying to the state and federal government of your $250 paycheck, $81,297. Obviously, that's a very ballpark range. For those of you who are working in corporate, you know that sometimes you have to put some of that money into stocks because the corporate wants you to make money and then put it into their stocks. And also, you're putting money into health insurances. There's other factors that can increase or decrease your federally owned and state-owned taxes. There's a lot of things, but estimated in pocket, you're looking at $168,703. Now, that's still a substantial amount of money. Bearing in mind, though, California, especially in the San Francisco area, has very high rental taxes as well as state sales taxes, which is around 7.25%. Local sales taxes, which is counties, for example, Los Angeles or San Francisco, San Diego, is roaming at around 2.5%. You add that together and it's about 10%. 10% in sales tax, that's crazy. That is very typical of California. They have some of the highest state sales tax in the country. And that means any single time you buy an item that's not groceries, and even going to a restaurant, you may be charged that amount. And also, you may be charged a corporate income tax. Corporate income taxes, like you just heard, corporate income taxes is for the corporate company that you work for. It's very interesting. It is 8.84%. California, again, has some of the highest in the country, which the Congressional Budget Office estimates workers to account for 25% of that. So there you are, you're paying for your boss's taxes. Welcome to corporate America.
Uh-oh. Capital gains tax.
All right, I'm sure I just encourage a lot of people right here sitting and watching me that now you all want to be software engineers working in California. Yay! But in all seriousness, once that breakup happened, you probably figured out that there's a lot of taxes that you could possibly avoid just by living in a different state, or even within the same state, a different county that may be cheaper. And there's some taxes that you may not be able to avoid if you're working that corporate life, that corporate sales, corporate income tax, and the federal taxes you probably can't avoid. But there are some taxes you can avoid. So get yourself educated. There are many tax brackets that you may fit into, and sometimes you can use taxes for your advantage. We'll talk about that in future. Let me know if there's something that interests you about taxes in the American system or in your own country. Please comment in the comment boxes below. Whew, and I'm just realizing I just showered, everyone. So sorry about that. I think my skin's gonna be a little bit more shiny in this video. The sixth one I'd like to share with you is lifestyle inflation. And I've noticed with a lot of people, lifestyle inflation tend to keep them poor. Not necessarily poverty, but middle class, not always meeting goals, financial goals that they have set for themselves and for the people below them. And that's because the more you earn and the more you spend, the less you'll have to invest or to take time to put your money in places other than investments, like building a business, for example, that can turn into an asset that could work for you. And I say this at the bottom of my heart with the most respect for those who are working very hard jobs. You really need to take time for yourself, mental health, going to the gym, getting a bottle of wine. All of that is fine. What I am referring to here is every single time you get a paycheck or a pay raise, going on extravagant vacations or spending it on a very nice coat that you may not need. We're going to be talking about a lot about saving money in this channel. I am very passionate about saving money because I think that when you have learned how to save money, then you start to understand the worthiness and the value of every single penny, and then you start to understand how investing works. I can't emphasize it enough, everyone. Spending every single time you make some money will keep you poor, middle class. To build wealth, I think the first and most important is to learn how to save. And the seventh and final one is taking a risk. Boy, this is such a close one, near and dear to my heart. According to a Northwestern Mutual study conducted, 3/4 of Americans would rather never take a financial risk to ensure stability, even if they know it'll yield a lower rate of return in the long run. That means about 75% of the people around us, and this number may have dropped because of investing and a YouTube platform and Google, this number may have altered, but still, that's a pretty substantial number to say that most people won't want to take a financial risk because it's comfortable to be stable and would rather work for someone else 9 to 5, wasting their time away. I'm not that old. I'm like 26 this year, but some of the most successful people I've met in my lifetime so far are the ones who have taken a risk when they're younger. They've built their own businesses, they have started their investment portfolio, they probably didn't go to college. Everyone at this point has heard of Graham Stephan. He's a big risk taker, I would say. And it's really fascinating that there's a huge trend between the amount of risk that you're willing to take, especially in your 20s, because we're young, we don't have that much money. There's not that much to lose in our 20s, and that's why it's the best season to take a risk in our 20s, a financial risk. And that would probably lead to fruit in the long run, especially when you're sitting with not much to lose. In due time, I will probably want to start my own business or start an investment portfolio that is more diversified so that I can take bigger risks with my income. For right now, I really enjoy the job I'm working at because I'm learning a lot and I feel like I'm being prepared for what is to come. All right, friendlings, and that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. This was my first ever attempt at YouTube, and I really just want to hear some feedback from you guys in the comment section. See you next time.